In this video, we're going to look at evaluating a piecewise function from the graph. So as you can see on this piecewise function, there are three pieces. We have one here that looks like a quadratic, and then we have another piece here that is part of a linear function, and then a third piece that is again also part of a linear function. This graph is not continuous. It is discontinuous. And the reason it is discontinuous is because we can see here that there is a break, and also there is a break here in the graph. So the first part that we're going to evaluate is f of -1. So we're going to look for -1 on the x-axis and see what output that gives us on the graph. And we can see that f of -1 gives us an output of 1. The next one we're going to look at is f of 1. So again, we're going to look for 1 on the x-axis and follow it up to the graph to see what the output is. Here, it looks like there's a break at 1. So do we use 1 or do we use 3? Well, how would we know? Notice that there's a difference between 1 and 3. At 1, it's a closed circle. At 3, it's an open circle. So remember, the difference between a closed circle and an open circle is whether it's included or not. If it's a closed circle, that means it's included. If it's an open circle, it's not included. So when we look at f of 1, we're going to use this point since it's closed. So f of 1 will also be 1. And then the last one we're going to look at is f of 2. So again, we're going to find 2 on our x-axis, follow it up to the graph. Oh, that is an open circle, so that's not included. So we're going to keep looking, and we see here that that is a closed circle. So f of 2 is going to be 3. Now let's look at the domain and the range. So remember, domain is your x values. So we want to look at how far to the left and how far to the right this graph goes. Well, we can see that there is an arrow that shows that this graph is going to continue forever to the left. And there's an arrow on this side as well that shows that the graph is going to continue forever to infinity to the right. We do need to pay attention to any breaks that are occurring here. So there was a break here, but there is a point that goes with 1. There's a break here at 2, but again, there's a point that goes with 2. So our domain is going to be from -infinity to +infinity. And finally, we want to look at the range. So the range is how low does the graph go and how high does the graph go. So we can see that the lowest point on this graph is here at 0. And then when we go up, oh, there's a break that occurs on this side. However, on this side, it still continues. So it's going to go up, and again we see this arrow, and again this arrow, that it's going to say that this graph is going to continue forever to infinity in the positive direction. So our range, the lowest that it is at 0, and that point is included. So a bracket at 0, and then we say it goes to infinity in the positive direction.